I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her.
What you're seeing right now is a graphic illustration in slow-mo of how my head felt when I heard Jennifer Soto say those words. Because that was how it felt, like my head exploding in slow-mo. Not only did she say those words, she said those words in the year of our Lord 2024. And she said those words after being shown an image of her 13-year-old daughter being essayed by her boyfriend. And she said that after seeing a photo of her deceased 13-year-old daughter strapped into the front seat of her boyfriend's car on the morning that she was missing. Of course, we're talking about the case of Madeline Soto, who was sexually and murdered, most likely, by Stephan Stearns, Jennifer Soto's boyfriend. In this video, I've compiled clips from police and press interviews in Madeline Soto's case, and I've put them in two general categories: loud signals and quiet signals. And these signals relate to the signals any parent should be aware of when it comes to child essay. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion around whether Jennifer Soto knew and whether she knew or was involved in the actual murder. I'm not going to try to answer those questions today. What I want to do is show you the overwhelming din of loud and quiet signals that were flashing right at Jennifer Soto, and she actively chose to ignore for whatever reason, like a child. It's too late for Jennifer Soto. Her child is now dead. But it's not too late for anyone else with a child in their life to know what to look out for. So with that, let's take a look at some clips that I've compiled displaying all the loud and quiet signals that Jennifer Soto just spaced out on for whatever reason. I've put written caption commentary on some of the clips, and I'll have more to say after the clips are played. And I must warn you now, many of these clips are very triggering. In fact, this entire video is probably very triggering. But if you want to jump forward to my commentary at the end of the video, I'll put the timestamp for that in the description below.
I got a new job recently. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep. So I asked, hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs?
Or you just started a new job?
I just started a new job and I haven't been sleeping well. I take psychiatric meds every night for my bipolar disorder. And if I don't take them the right way, eat, and go to sleep on time,
They don't work.
They don't work.
Gotcha.
So I was just like, hey, I really need these meds because I forgot them the night before. I forgot them, I think, Saturday night. So Sunday I was not myself. So I asked, I'm like, hey, I need to be medicated. I need to sleep. Can you take care of the morning duties so I can go and sleep?
Like, now that I've seen the inside of the house, it looks like a majority of her clothes are in that little partitioned area in the living room.
Yeah.
Does she have clothes anywhere else? Like, where would she put clothes to wear to school the next day?
Okay. Where would she get dressed? She would get dressed in her bedroom, right there, that little nook in the living room. Mm-hmm. All her clothes are there. Mm-hmm. When she takes off her clothes, her dirty laundry hamper is typically in my bathroom downstairs, and she'll just dump it in the basket. But there is no basket there right now. She's been dumping everything on the floor. I'm going to say back in June, it was primarily the three of us sleeping in bed together all the time. I think I can count maybe on one hand how many times she's gone upstairs to sleep with him alone, because I wasn't comfortable with it. I was like, no, this it doesn't look right. Like, it just doesn't seem right. Like, I'm not comfortable with it. Maddie, you got to sleep with me. And I've told them that. But there are times that they beg for sleepovers. Like, please, we just want to stay up late watching movies. And I would be too tired to stay up late. So I would say, fine, go ahead and do it. But just this once, like.
When did you start becoming comfortable with it?
I don't know if I was ever comfortable with it.
But you told them to go Sunday night to go sleep together.
I did. That was a selfish move on my part. It's because I wanted a good night's sleep. I didn't want her kicking me or rolling into me or waking me up or to hear her alarm so that it woke me up. I wanted to keep sleeping until I needed to sleep because I just had not, with my training schedule, I have not had a good night's sleep. My medication was out of whack. I was feeling funny and not like myself. And I knew that I needed another night's sleep and my medication in my body, like ASAP, so I needed to go to bed. So I wasn't even comfortable sending her that night, but I just did it for my own selfish reasons. If he were to sleep in the guest bedroom upstairs, and I would say, no, you guys can hang out and do whatever, but you're sleeping with me.
Understandable.
Just because even if I've known her for 7 years, the idea of course it would be weird anyone else, a little girl sleeping with a man that's not her dad. It sounds weird, but
I had a rule. She wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. Like, no sleepovers, no nothing. For a very long time. For years. Like, even though he treated her well, I still looked at him on, like side-eye, like making sure, like, is that normal? Is this, okay, that looks normal, okay. I wanted to make sure that nothing was happening and that I was missing something, but I wasn't. He never requested, I'm sorry, repeat the question then. They would snuggle, yeah. Okay. But we all snuggle. I didn't think that was abnormal. He would lay down like this and she would be right here in the nook.
And at that point, I put my foot down and said, Madeline's not sleeping in the room with you. She's too old for that. And I said, you need to stop doing that at home, too. It's ridiculous. And then to send your child off to sleep with a man in another room in a single bed together, who is not a biological relative, and even biological relatives can't be trusted.
Yeah, I was sleeping with mom and dad, and I rolled over, and I ended up with my leg over Stephan's leg, and she giggled about it, and I was like going, that was the second time. I said, and I told Gian, I said, listen, she's getting too old to do this. She's too old to share a bed with you. Don't do it anymore. I said, if you have to lock your bedroom door so she can't come in when you guys are asleep, then you need to do that.
¿Por qué dejaba eso?
Why would you do that?
Y ella me lo comentó en una conversación privada entre nosotras dos como amigas. Y ella me dijo que para ella él nunca le iba a hacer daño a su hija. Para ella no, eso era normal porque nunca él le iba a hacer daño.
And then when he comes out of the shower, Maddie's sitting in bed with Jen, and then he'll be coming out naked, and Maddie will stay naked. He sleeps in boxers. Mm-hmm. He would wake up, and this is his words. I don't talk like this, but he'll wake up with a boner, and then he'll have to turn around because Maddie was like cuddling with him, and that's when I was like, okay, this is not.
What you just heard are the loudest signals of child SA occurring in Madeline Soto's life. The most blaring in-your-face signal that she repeatedly slept in bed alone with Stephan Stearns with her mother's permission, and her mother allowed it for her own selfish reasons. As you heard in those clips, not only did Jennifer know it was wrong, she was confronted about it on several occasions. But now we know, based on what Jennifer said herself, that somehow she doesn't consider child SA evil. So when she talks about having rules and being uncomfortable with the sleeping arrangements, I believe she's saying that for our benefit, for the listener's benefit. Based on all the things Jennifer has said and hasn't said in her interviews, I believe that it was easier for her to have a man around who occupied Madeline, and she wasn't interested in sex herself, so she probably assumed somewhere in the back of her mind that the sex stuff, as she called it, was going on with her daughter. That, in her own words, is not evil. In reality, child SA is as evil as it comes, barring murder. So to hear a mother say that about her child is absolutely earth-shattering, especially to someone with personal experience with child SA. Her words told me that still, well after medieval times, there are normal seeming people in the world who are brought up to believe that engaging in any kind of sexual activity with a child is okay. In case you're wondering, it is not. Okay? Also, Jennifer believed that Madeline might be pregnant.
She would typically complain of her breast hurting, having terrible cramps, but I didn't hear any of that this month.
You didn't hear any of that?
Okay. But you said she's been consistent every month telling you about her period?
She's been late a few times, and she's told me, or sometimes her period has lasted way longer than normal. I'll call it irregular, because mine was irregular when I was younger too. So I just assumed just her body working through it, trying to regulate itself.
Since she didn't know for sure whether Maddie was pregnant, but just suspected it, it's another big indicator that this needs to be looked at. Okay. But what were the quiet signals? There were a lot of them. And I'm going to play the quiet signals now with my written captions on top, and then I'll say more on the other side of these clips.
So she left her phone at home, so there's no way to trace her. They tried tracing her school laptop, but that's off, so it's not pinging to anything.
Kind girl. Just please be nice to her. Bring her home if you find her. Tell her that we love her. Wherever she is, I hope she's okay.
I mean, if someone were to come in contact with her and you gave me her diagnoses, would it be easy to approach her without any, like, agitation or anything?
Yeah. She's a good kid. She's a good kid. We just wanted a baby girl back.
She did recently tell Stephan that she had a crush on a boy.
Oh, okay. And that's...
And Stephan's like, are you aware that she has a crush on a boy? I said, no. He's like, yeah. She told me that he's tall and that she likes his fluffy hair.
When was this? Do you remember when this conversation happened?
Within the last week sometime, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Fun. You told me that you haven't had sex in a while.
Yeah. To me, his penis is average size but thick, and it hurts. So I don't want even normal sex hurt to me. So I just didn't want to do it anymore, honestly.
Okay.
Because she and Stephan were not having sex. Her medication changed. She didn't have any interest in sex, and so there was no sexual engagement between the two of them.
Honestly, we hardly went on dates. There's only one date I can think of that we went on, and that was like years ago at the beginning of our relationship, where we went to Disney Springs and went to the Edison. I don't think we've had many date nights, just him and me. It's always been the three of us doing something, going to dinner, going to Disney Springs. But they were each other's buddy.
When I asked her about that, the only thing she really said was, I don't really like him. He's kind of weird. So I said, okay, well, what does that mean? How is he weird? Why don't you like him? And her responses were nothing of that level of concern. It was always, well, he eats all of our food and he hangs out in the living room and it makes me uncomfortable because I don't really like him, so I don't want him to be there. But nothing ever to the level of concern that we're seeing now. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I heard about him was he's moving out. I'm happy about that, and that's helping me feel better with home.
When was that conversation that he was moving out?
That was about a couple of months ago, so I would say around December.
Okay, so sometime in December, you guys had a meeting, and she said...
You guys asked me about kinks.
What?
Like sexual kinks.
Yep.
And something occurred to me last night.
Okay.
He's into, like, I think anal kink. That's something he's asked me a few times, and that's not my thing. I've refused. But I remember he told me he was always into butts. So, butt stuff.
like face down completely, you know. And he
This was in a report,
Like completely
by the way.
flat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he went, and that's the one time, the only one time that he was really erect. Sometimes that was it. And it was very weird to like just, you know, at some point I was just so grossed out. Then I'm open to try things, but there are things that you're like, okay, are you trying to have sex with a corpse here, or you know?
He's very irritable and very negative about the world and things. Driving would piss him off. Like, depending on how people were driving around him, he'd get really irritable with that. Me nagging him would make him really irritable, like if I asked him to clean the house or help me with something. But, would he lash out and explode with me? No. But I believe he's done that with his parents.
I know he's like a master liar and manipulator because he's done it to his parents, and he's told me and shown me the lies he's done to his parents. But I don't know why I never thought, not me.
That, in fact, just the opposite. Stephan would be sitting on the sofa, and she would go and sit on the arm of the sofa and break her arm around him and give him a kiss and tell him she loved him. You know, and Madeline is the one that told me about the co-sleeping. Not Stephan and not Jen. Madeline did.
And
Stephan.
she says that Stephen was also washing clothes. He says Stephen never washes clothes.
What argument, like anything parenting related or whatnot, Maddie would want to call Stephan and to vent about it, what she was imagining.
Maddie's relationship.
Maddie called him dad.
Okay, got it. Did she ever mention anything to you about having depression or like suicidal thoughts or any suicidal attempts or anything like that?
She never mentioned anything along those lines. It was always more so focused on the anxiety and the panic.
Okay.
And a lot of times she wasn't able to verbally articulate what exactly was making that panic arise beyond feeling overstimulated.
Like, she has her, we call them sleepy days. Okay. Where, like, she'll come in, just want to do nothing but put her head down and kind of ignore most things, but then, like, she'll end up doing her work later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do a lot of kids do that?
Not really. Okay. No. Like, a lot of them will put their head down, but she'll do it a lot more often than the other ones.
Okay.
She looks sad quite often.
Okay.
Even on say she's often in the clinic, whether she was in my 3rd period or currently in my 6th period. She's oftentimes in the clinic.
Okay. And what's that for, usually?
Either she's not feeling well or she has anxiety.
Okay. When you say she's not feeling well, what does that mean? Did she tell you ever?
She's like, I'm not feeling good. Can I go to the nurse?
Did she describe it at all? Like, my stomach's hurting, my head's hurting, I'm feeling sad, anxious?
I just know that she has anxiety.
Okay.
So I just allow her to go to the nurse and see the nurse.
And is that common in other periods too that you know of? I don't know if y'all ever talk about it.
I don't know about the other periods, but it stayed about the same as far as 3rd period versus 6th period.
Okay. Is she ever absent from school?
She is. Without looking at my sheets, I can't tell you how frequent it is.
You see, these quiet signals can be just as important as loud signals, especially when there's a grouping of quiet signals that lay underneath 2 very loud signals, like repeatedly sleeping in the same bed or possibly being pregnant. You can't look at one quiet signal on its own and assume it involves child SA, but you can look at a grouping of signals like the ones we have with Stephan Stearns and put them all together to make a very strong case. I truly believe that if Jennifer Soto had a different attitude about adult-child sexual contact and had paid more attention to this large grouping of signals I've just played for you, Madeline Soto would be alive today. I'm going to end this now with my theory of what happened to the innocent, beautiful, young lady of Madeline Soto. And I base this theory on the evidence we know so far. And my insight comes from my own personal experience with child SA and a person like Stephan Stearns. My theory is that Stephan Stearns engaged in a relationship with Jennifer Soto, a single mother with a 6-year-old girl, just to get access to the little girl. I believe that Stephan Stearns began grooming Maddie from the time he started dating Jennifer. There's evidence that Stephan had images of himself abusing Maddie from as late back as 2020. At that time, Maddie would have been around 8 or 9 years old.
And we can now piece back her victimization in your house under your care to 2020. I believe you've gone as far back as in when she was being raped. A blowjob is rape. Not consensual. Whether she wants to do it or not, that is not consensual. And you prioritized him again. You prioritized him by offering him or telling his dad to get him a lawyer.
She texted me and said, get Stephan a lawyer now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why? And then she says, well, they have found these images on Stephan's phone that there's sex acts between Maddie and Stephan.
No, let's protect Stephan.
I was in shock.
No, it's not shock. That is your natural instinct to protect Stephan.
I'm certain that he started abusing her well before that, but didn't start taking photos of it until he had gotten Maddie more comfortable with the situation. As Maddie aged into 10, 11, and 12, I believe that Stephan Stearns convinced Maddie that they were in a couples type relationship, like in the movies, like a romantic movie, or like Romeo and Juliet. And he told her they had to make it their secret. This is a very, very common tactic.
I think she probably thought they were in a relationship. She probably thought they were in love because he her male attention, right? She just started liking boys, right? She just got a crush. Up until then, her crush.
He treated her like
he treats you.
Maddie is reported to have started menstruating when she was 11 years old. I believe that the abuse was in full swing at that time, and right around the time of her 13th birthday, she discovered she was pregnant. I believe that on the Saturday before her 13th birthday party, which was going to take place the next day, she called Stephan Stearns and told him she was pregnant and asked him to come see her.
She called and specifically asked him to come.
I believe that when Maddie told Stephan she might be pregnant, he freaked out and went into a straight panic attack, as witnessed by his father.
Some sort of anxiety, panic attack, and I've never, ever seen this expression on his face. Never. And something he had some sort of information and had no idea what it was, but he was really panicked.
Now, as we know, Madeline had her 13th birthday party on Sunday night. Jennifer wasn't at the party because she had to work at her new job, and Stephan wasn't at the party because he was persona non grata with Jennifer's family. So Madeline was dropped off at her house that evening by someone in Jennifer's family. Then Jennifer and Stephan got home at separate points. But at that point, Jennifer says about a half hour later, after Maddie showed Jennifer and Stephan all of her presents, Jennifer says in her own words that she sent them both to sleep upstairs so that she could get some good sleep and not be bothered, and her meds wore off. A preliminary autopsy report says that the cause of Madeline's death was strangulation. I believe that as soon as Stephan knew Jennifer was asleep, and possibly after Madeline was asleep, he strangled her, then took her out of the house before Jennifer or any of the roommates could wake up and see what he was doing. That's when he strapped Maddie into the front seat of his car and drove around with her, pretending he was taking her to McDonald's, then school. In several interviews, Jennifer said that Maddie told Stephan that she had a crush on a boy.
And Stephan's like, are you aware that she has a crush on a boy? I said, no. He's like, yeah, she told me that he's tall and that she likes his fluffy hair.
When was this? Remember when this conversation happened?
within the last week sometime, but I'm not sure. Okay.
This anecdote was told in the process of explaining how close and comfortable Maddie was with Stephan, and would indicate a feeling of safeness and of being able to confide in him. I don't believe Maddie ever really told him this about this crush, because we've never heard it from Maddie's mouth herself, and neither did her mother Jennifer. I believe Stephan made up the crush as soon as Maddie told him she was pregnant, so that if people ever found out Maddie was pregnant, whether she was dead or alive, he could put it off on her sleeping with her boy crush. Plausible deniability in his mind. The vast majority of parents who are faced with this overwhelming grouping of loud and soft signals would have taken their child out of Stephan Stern's grasp long before he could develop a relationship with her, get her pregnant, and then kill her. But for some reason, Jennifer Soto was not that kind of parent, and she lost her daughter as a result. My heart goes out to her for losing her daughter, but I'm angry at the role she played as a parent. We repeat what we don't repair. The chains around Jennifer Soto's thinking caused her child to endure years of abuse followed by murder. Don't be a Jennifer Soto. For more information about the loud and quiet signals of child SA, go to this website. Thank you for watching. Rest in peace to Madeline Soto, and my heart sincerely goes out to her loved ones. Thank you, and peace out.